Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Shiz and Giggles, our weekly wind down podcast where we talk about anything and everything. My name is Jenna, and I will be your host, but I am never alone. My first co host is an artist who loves anything and everything outdoors, especially when friends and family and a paint teacher on the weekends, just trying to live life generously and with lots of laughter. It's Emily.
Hey, hey, thanks. Happy to be here, Jenna.
Happy to have you. All right, our second co host hails all the way from Georgia. She's a lover of tech, music, and food. This girl is all about creativity, living life to the fullest. It's Rikke.
Hi.
How are you doing today, Rikke?
I'm good. How are you guys? Or
I'm
rather, I should say
good.
Great.
ladies. How are you, ladies?
Good. Definitely good. All right. Well, to kick things off, I do want to talk a little bit about a trending topic. So, to get ready for March, let's talk about Women's History Month. So, give me one second because I have a beautiful graphic our producer made up here on the screen for us. So let's get into it. So based on womenshistorymonth.org, the Women's History Month has been a local celebration in Santa Rosa, California. The Educational Task Force of Sonoma County, California, commissioned on the status of a woman, planned and executed a Women's History Week celebrated in 1978. And then in February of 1980, President Jimmy Carter declared the week of March 8th as National Women's History Week. And since 1995, each president has issued an annual proclamation designating the month of March as Women's History Month. So it's been happening all the way since the 70s. So, what I'd like to do is ask my co hosts, do you do anything special for Women's History Month?
I generally don't. However, if it is brought to my attention or I do see predominantly women events, then I definitely do try to attend or take part in that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I celebrate my birthday. Right,
That
you.
counts.
Thank you. And my
That,
mom's birthday. So while we're at it,
ooh,
add her in there too. Yeah,
Nice.
same for me. I try. I mean, if I see an event I definitely went to the Women's March a couple years ago. That was incredible.
yeah.
And the one here in Richmond as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's so much fun. All right. Well, my second question is probably a little bit, I think, more well rounded. I think more people can probably answer this one too. Is who is your favorite woman role model?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Mhm.
But I think for me, I would definitely say my mom. My mom has been such a role model for me, and still is now. And I think she'll just always be one of those people that holds a top position in my life.
Mm.
It's beautiful.
As it
Thanks.
should be.
What about you, Emily? Do you have a role model in your life?
I'd say, honestly, so many. My older sisters, and my younger sister for that matter, and my mom and my mom's wife. My stepmother is such an inspiration and an
Mm,
influence on my life. So yeah, I have the koodles of women to pull from.
that's
Very,
awesome.
yeah.
Oh, so sweet. So sweet. Well, if I don't know if you all knew, but we are an event planning company, so we have to talk
True.
about events.
Surprise.
Very
So I know.
true.
So up here on the screen right now, I'm going to show two QR codes, one for Richmond, Virginia, and then one for worldwide. So go ahead and scan those, and you can find some local events inspired by Women's History Month that are happening in the month of March. And I do want to just give a quick shout out to if you're in Richmond and you're looking for something local, please check out the West Broad Village Empower Her event happening in March. So go ahead and scan that QR code. Make sure you attend a month or an event this month that speaks to women.
Would this event happen to be produced by AAP?
Rikke, I'm so glad you asked. It
Curious.
would.
Ah, it's a great
It
event
would
then,
be.
automatically.
It would be. All right, ladies. Well, it is time for segments. And I don't know about you guys, but we have some pretty great segments today. So let's kick it off with our first one with Emily, which is Want to Draw About It?
Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome to another day with Wanna Draw About It. But today, as many days before, we are not focusing on activities so much as information. Given that it is Women's History Month and my area of specialties is art, you of course know I'm going to talk about women in art. Now, here's a question for basically everybody. Can you name me a single female artist? And I want to point out, I've already said this to Jenna earlier, not Frida Kahlo, because that seems to be the one person anybody can name. Can you name a single other female artist?
I can Google one.
Probably not. If anybody can name a second one, it's usually Georgia O'Keeffe, who is also phenomenal. I highly recommend learning, Googling and learning as much as you possibly can intake about Frida Kahlo and Georgia O'Keeffe both. However, I want to point out and bring to the forefront some artists that you might not know about who are extremely influential to our conception of art today and were absolutely phenomenal. First up, we have Augusta Savage. Now, Augusta Savage is not only incredible because she is a female sculptor, which is extremely unusual. The field of sculpture and 3D arts and the physicality of it have so historically been considered masculine that the idea of not only a woman, but a woman of color and a woman of color in her era became this famous. She was the first woman to ever receive a Julius Rosenwald Fellowship. She's considered extremely influential in the Harlem Renaissance, and some of her statues are just breathtaking. She does a lot of busts and does a lot of caricatures and portraits, um, but also some a little more figurative and imaginative pieces, as you can see with, I think that piece is called Duet. That's like the face, but
Mhm.
it's two people holding each other. So, absolutely beautiful. Highly recommend looking her up. The second person I want to point out is her name is Cindy Sherman. And for anybody who is into pop art and contemporary art, you might actually know Cindy Sherman. Cindy Sherman is a super bizarre, super incredible, and again, I repeat, super bizarre artist who focuses on self portraits. She almost I think exclusively does self portraits of herself in a variety of different settings and playing with concepts of film industry and production, and especially upending the concept of the male gaze, really. There's something about every one of her pieces that it takes concepts of women's beauty and upends it in a weird way, makes it a little grotesque sometimes, makes it a little comical other times, makes it a little, just taking it out of context makes it so strange and so bizarre. And she has no end to the things to look at. So, highly recommend looking her up as well. She's actually still alive today and still working. And
Hmm.
the third person I want to bring up is Micheline Thomas. Now, personally, I adore her work. It is so incredible. It is so, the physicality of it, the textures of it, the variety of it. She works not only in, predominantly and traditionally got her start in these collage paintings that you see on screen now, but has also done a lot of kind of what's called collage photography. And she is kind of a pioneer in this realm. Her and a couple other artists are almost exclusively work in this way, where it is a photograph, but it is things that are kind of pasted together and then a picture taken of it. It's very strange. Highly recommend looking it up. As you can see in these collages, I hope, at least in the round one, that these are not just paintings and are not just two-dimensional images. They do have rhinestones and objects kind of painted into the painting, playing with concepts of beauty, black beauty, especially pop art imagery, and conceptions of body and glamour, and really diving into that and owning it. And it's very gorgeous. This piece that you see the artist herself in front of is actually on display in the Smithsonian Museum of Art in DC, which is where I first got introduced to her work because I used to live right outside of DC, and I love this painting. So, those are my three features for today. Highly recommend looking up more images because I can only show you so many in the time slot that I have, and there are so many more to look at. So I guess my question to my co-host is, do you like any of these artists, as weird as some of them may be?
No, I found Cindy Sherman's work very it was definitely something that my grandma, like my nanny, used to really enjoy her art pieces. And I didn't know that it was her until I saw the clown one because that used to hang in
Mhm.
our house.
Oh,
So
fascinating. That is an odd piece to decorate your house with.
yeah, she loved clowns. I don't know what the
Mhm.
deal with it was, but
That's a
I
lot.
don't know.
Yeah, Cindy Sherman, her contemporary work now, like what she's making now, is very much focused around Instagram and TikTok, actually,
Hmm,
and in playing with the ideas in which toxic and not toxic, and both, are images of stage and real self portraits and selfies. It's kind of interesting, definitely different.
hmm,
But
absolutely.
thank you for humoring me. And go look up another female artist. There are so many, and it is so tragic that we don't know any of them as a wider culture.
Agreed. Well, thank you so much, Emily. I feel like that was very enlightening. And we're going to pass it on over to our next segment, which is with Ricky, and it's Ricky's recommendation.
All right, so to celebrate Women's History Month, I have actually collected a few books suggestions that are not only written by women, but the main subject of these books are women. So I want to get to my first book, which actually happens to be someone very popular that everyone pretty much knows, and that's Michelle Obama. So, in her book, Becoming, the former First Lady of the United States, she talks about her upbringing, her life impacts, and also what it was like being the first African American family in the White House. But it's all from her perspective, which in and of itself is very interesting as she is female, and many books that are out there are, written from all male presidents. But it is really nice to get to see what her perspective is. And I also have another book that is actually quite interesting as well. And this book here is called The Radium Girls. So, what we know now, we know radium is not good, but, it took some history and years for us to realize that. And during the time, radium was often viewed as like a great resource that was put into a lot. You name it. It could be paint, it could be makeup. Sometimes it was even included in medicine. Well, many of these women who worked in factories that specialized in radium were called radium girls. So this book really touches on the journey of a female factory workers who exposed the really dark secrets of this industry and what radium was doing to them because many at the time did not know the dangers of radium. So it's definitely a super, super interesting read. And then the next suggestion that I have is actually one of my favorite books, and it is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This book is a classic. Like, if you haven't read it yet, I really encourage you to read it. This book follows the life of Offred, who is actually a handmaid, but it's also in like this dystopic society in America. The United States isn't as we know it. It's actually like a very locked down and chained society, and reproduction rates have gone down. So they have women who are known as handmaids to help push that birthing population. And so you go along the journey with Offred to look at what it looks like for her being a handmaid and then also for her breaking through some society norms.
Hmm.
So I got to ask my co host, tell me, have you guys read any of these books? Are there any books that you definitely think will be a great read as well?
Becoming by Michelle Obama is a
Mhm.
fantastic recommendation. It is so incredible. But I've never heard of Radium Girls, and I'm
I
very
actually
interested in that.
have.
That is a very interesting
Mhm.
book. Definitely super, super
Yeah.
interesting.
I've read the book, and it's actually a play as well. And I believe it's a movie, if I'm correct. But it's been on Broadway, and my old high school did it a few years after I left, and I went and saw it. It's very good. It's definitely a very touching piece because it, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of like the Triangle Waistcoat Factory Fire. I think it was called the Triangle
Mhm.
Factory Fire. It's very reminiscent of that, of just like women not being treated right
Yeah.
in history.
Yeah. When you read these books, it definitely makes you very grateful for the women who have come before us and many of the things that they endured,
Mm.
because the women have certainly gone through a lot in history, period. So to be able to stand on those stepping stones that they laid is definitely not anything, just us women should take for granted.
Mm.
Absolutely. Agreed.
This is very true.
Dang, Ricky. Wow. Coming
Don't
in. Coming
worry.
I'm
in
not.
When I come back, it'll be fun.
hot. All right, ladies. Well, I feel like Ricky's was a really great segment to kind of wrap up today's messaging and why this month is celebrated. The reason we come forward and appreciate women. So, are there any major takeaways that either of you have from today's show?
I feel like this entire show has just been read books and look at art. Very
Yeah,
highbrow, and I like that.
we're elevating.
True, true.
All right, ladies. Well, I will go ahead and wrap up today's show since it is a Friday and it's beautiful outside. So we want to make sure you go outside and experience the weekend. So thank you so much to my wonderful co-hosts and to everyone watching. A special thanks to our producer, Demi, who put together these lovely slides and is putting on our wonderful production right now. But we hope to see you all here again next Friday and every Friday after that at 4 p.m. You can find us on the All About Presentation YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn page. If you can't make it, then no worries. We do repost our episodes on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. You can scan that little QR. Where is it? This way. This little QR code in the corner, and it'll take you to our link tree, and you can find all of our social medias really easy that way. So thank you all so much for watching, and have a happy Friday and a wonderful weekend.